It has been only a couple of days since the ceasefire agreement was announced, and it has already been irreparably shattered. Israel is refusing to halt its attacks upon Lebanon, and the United States and Israel both continue to deny the reality that Lebanon was part of the ceasefire agreement deal, that it was a key component of the peace arrangements. Yet they continue to deny the reality and they continue to try and achieve their own objectives in the region. Senior officials in the Israeli government have already stated their desire to annex large swathes of Lebanon as part of their Greater Israel project to expand their influence across the region and occupy territories illegally. We have already seen this in the past. Settler colonialism in the West Bank, the occupation and oppression enforced upon Gaza, the expansion of the Israeli state into Syria, constant attacks, the annexation of the Golan Heights, the continued expansionism beyond its borders. This is the state that Israel has created. This is the state that we have created. We are a direct reason for why such a state of affairs has occurred. The British Prime Minister Winston Churchill was the reason why Iran is in a state of revolution and turmoil today. He was the one who authorized the overthrow of Mossadegh in 1953 due to the thirst for oil resources. And that same thirst comes back today in an imperial form once again in the hands of Trump and his imperial United States empire. And the British state was also responsible for the creation of the State of Israel in the first place. And the very UN that they exalt, the very UN that they point to when we say that international law is toothless, is the very UN that has been completely ignored when it comes to defining the borders in the region, when it comes to defining what illegal occupation is, what illegal settler colonialism is, what the expansionist ambitions of the Israeli state are. The international bodies have declared it to be illegal, yet no action will be taken and no consequences will be imposed. This is the region that we have created. The United States and its allies have enabled the instability and turmoil that we see today. They have destroyed state after state, nation after nation, communities after communities. They have pitted ethnicities against each other. They've pitted sects against each other in a concept of divide and rule, just like the imperial powers centuries ago. This is the neocolonialism that our world has to endure. The exploitation of resources by transnational corporations, the exploitation of resources and land and wealth and institutions by the imperial powers in occupations and indirect occupations. We see the debt trap diplomacy that China employs to this day. All the superpowers of this world, all the developed nations use their wealth not to create justice, but to perpetuate injustice. Clearly, this ceasefire deal is a smokescreen. It is a veil to cover the actions that are happening beneath the cover of lies. We see the expansion of the Israeli state. We see the neocolonial ambitions and the rise of the so-called Don Road Doctrine in Latin America, threats towards the Cuban state. We are seeing them achieve their own objectives elsewhere. And meanwhile, in Pakistan, do you really think that Shahbaz Sharif and their government has the capabilities to broker such a fragile ceasefire, such a complex arrangement? It is clear that he has been dictated to by his American masters, and this is the trade-off that they're making. This is the deal that they're making: increased legitimacy and credibility for the PDM government in exchange for an indirect proxy expansion of American objectives in the region, and a saving of face and avoiding of humiliation for the American empire. This is the ceasefire agreement. This is what it truly is. It is a veil to cover the truth that is beneath it. It is a veil to conceal the humiliation that Trump and the American empire has had to endure. We are seeing the ultimate decline and collapse of Pax Americana. We are seeing that they no longer have the same reach or power that they used to. They can no longer subjugate nations with just one directive. They are facing resistance. They are facing opposition. And if we continue to show this resistance and this opposition, then we can overthrow the hegemon. But we have to make sure that no new hegemon emerges, no new concentration of power occurs that can be used to perpetuate oppression and injustice, because that is what concentration of power does. That is why competition is so valuable. That's why choice is so valuable. That's why democracy is so essential. We cannot allow the rise of another imperial force, whether that is China, whether that is any other developing power. We have to reform the global institutions of power that enable this oppression and injustice to flourish without boundary, without restraint. That is the future that we have to create. A future where there is a multipolar world, a world where power is dictated by innovation and ingenuity, not by force and strength.